Ew, tapping in real quick. Something light, nothing major. Peace and blessings and all that. You know what I'm talking about? Hopefully everybody's Wednesday has kicked off properly. And you know, your week's going according to plan. You know what I'm talking about? Nothing too crazy about this video right here. We just gonna sit here and chop it up for a few minutes for what it's worth about what I believe to be live dogs on this card that you need to keep an eye out for. You know what I'm talking about? I would not be surprised type of situation. You know what I'm talking about? And we can stop it. We can start at the top of the card with Leon Edwards. The boy's solid. The boy's well-rounded. He's been in there with the best of the best when it comes to wrestling and grappling. Individuals who like to implement the wrestling and grappling part of their game heavy, all the way back to the prime time, you know, Rafael Dos Santos's, the Kamaru Usman's, the Kobe Covington's. Like, he's just been in there, you know, with the absolute best of the best. And I would not be surprised if he was able to stuff the majority of the incoming takedowns, keep this fight upright, and catch, clip, and disconnect Sean Brady from his consciousness at the end of the night. Maybe it's a night where Brady goes out there and is dominant with the wrestling and grappling early, but then, you know, that starts to wind down later, and he's able to find a finish via catching, clipping, and disconnecting him from his consciousness, God forbid, with another head kick like he did to Kamaru after losing most of that fight to find the finish. Maybe it's with a striking sequence coming from the hands, you know. Who knows, man? But it is not outside the realm of possibility, obviously, as can be suggested by the money line. It's a very closely contested matchup. But Leon's a dog, man. And one thing has nothing to do with the other. It's all worth consideration, you know. Bilal did the 1-2 to Leon, but he did the 1-2 and then knocked out Sean Brady. You know, I kind of feel like Leon is going to be able to survive whatever wrestling and grappling sequences Sean Brady is able to chain together. And if that's the case, you know, Leon may very well bark as a dog in his backyard. You know, he lost as a favorite in his backyard. Now he's going to try to bark as a dog in his backyard, and I would not be surprised. Let's come on down here past the co-main event to the co-main event, Kevin versus Gunnar. Y'all already know how I feel about this one. Kevin should be able to catch, clip, and disconnect this young man from his consciousness. I'm not high on Gunnar, but these are two of the most inconsistent individuals on the roster, as can be seen by their resumes. You know what I'm talking about? Gunnar, you know, win, lose, win, lose, win, win, lose, win, lose, lose, win, win. I think it's time for him to lose again, but maybe that's just me. Same with Kevin, man. You know, Kevin's a wild roller coaster, but he's been across multiple divisions. You know what I'm talking about? Win, 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 lose, lose, win, 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 lose, 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 win, win, lose, lose, win, win, lose, lose, win, lose, lose. I think it's about time for Kev to win. You know what I'm talking about? Maybe that's some fucked up logic. Maybe you're not picking up what I'm putting down. Maybe you can't dig it. You know what I'm talking about? But Kev is the more dangerous individual, man, with a significant, you know, height and reach advantage of 9 inches. He possesses the pop in the shots to get the job done. Listen, man, moving on. I would not be surprised if Kev knocked this young man out, club and subbed this young man, or found the, found the victory in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Moving on, Molly, man. Let's talk about Molly real quick. Alexia, she's over there. Who was it? Amanda Lamo? Who was it that was posting pictures with her and all of that? You know what I'm talking about? So she's in good company for what it's worth, man. But so is Molly, you know. And Alexia's first one and only loss is a loss inside the distance via submission to Bruna Brazil, which I'm not really going to frown on her about because we took Bruna Brazil at plus 250 against Molly McCann to, show up, show out, and get the job done and cash as a dog in Molly's backyard, which is what she did. So Molly, last time they fought here, she lost in her backyard. And this time when she fights here, I would not be surprised if she barks as a slight underdog on the card. You understand what I'm saying to you? There is a significant reach advantage. Well, you know, 5 inches, 67 inches to 62 inches, but Meatball's always on the wrong side of a reach advantage. They're both 5'4", 34 to 27. Not a lot to talk about there. One coming into herself, the other very much in her prime, and that's the Meatball. One in the Meatball has faced a higher level of opposition. Wins, losses, does not matter. She may prove on Saturday in her own right that she is the higher level of opposition, man. I would not be surprised if this dog barked, and I would not be surprised if this dog barked and found a victory inside the distance via submission. If I'm not mistaken, is Molly coming off of a submission? Or she submitted someone not that long ago? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, 2 arm bars back to back, and she, after losing to a Kimura and an arm bar, she arm barred Diana and Julia, and then she lost the decision to Bruna. So yeah, her last fight was over here in her backyard where she lost as a favorite. And this time she may very well cash in her backyard as a dog to correct that wrong, much like Leon Edwards up the card, who lost the last time they fought over here in London as a favorite, and I would not be surprised if he cashed this time over here in London as a dog. So that's Leon Edwards in the main event. Would not be surprised. Kevin Holland would not be surprised. Molly McCann in women's MMA. I would not be surprised, not in the least. And then y'all already know my baby Taco is a beast, taking on the Black Country Banger. I just think he cracks too hard. I think he possesses too much pop in each and every one of his individual shots. I think his well-roundedness, the well-roundedness of his game is going to be a bit too much for Jai. So, this is another dog right here that I would not be surprised if he barked and popped the fuck off on the prelim card, and I do very much so expect him to bark and pop the fuck off on the prelim cards. I think he hits too hard, man. I think he's too accurate, too fast, just too overwhelming. Too much of an overwhelming body of work is what he's going to put on Jai Hubert, in my personal opinion. So those are 4 dogs right there that I would not be surprised if they barked and popped the fuck off. 2 of them which are not my picks. You understand what I'm saying to you? Kevin Holland, Chris Padilla, very much so have, and or my picks. Molly McCann, women's MMA, for the sake of a pick, I did go the other way. Leon Edwards, main event, and for the sake of a pick, I did go the other way with Sean Brady. So when we're talking about this right here, I don't need anybody tapping in talking about, hey bro, well you pick this one and you pick that one, so what are you talking about? What I'm talking about is underdogs who have the potential to bark and pop the fuck off. You understand what I'm saying to you? I am a degenerate. I am not a dumbass. So while my pick may be on one side, I properly prepare myself for being on the wrong side of said pick if I feel like the other side has the potential to bark and pop the fuck off. You understand what I'm saying to you? Nothing about me talking about Leon or me talking about Molly changes my picks in any way, shape, form, or fashion. My picks are still what my picks are. You understand what I'm saying to you? But this is a conversation that I feel like needed to take place, man. Because my picks are what my picks are, but I'm not blinded to the reality of the situation. You understand what I'm saying to you? Rocky, Leon Edwards, may very well come out here and prove that he is the higher level of opposition and not to be fucked with in his backyard by this level of opposition. You understand what I'm saying to you? Molly McCann may prove in her own right that she is the higher level of opposition and not to be fucked with in her backyard by this level of opposition. You understand what I'm saying to you? Kevin Holland, they just go out there and do what I expect Kevin Holland to do and get this one done in spectacular fashion. You understand what I'm saying to you? And the same can be said about Chris Padilla. He may very well go out there and do what I expect him to do and get this one done in spectacular fashion. If not finding the finish inside a distance, beating this man up for 15 minutes. You understand what I'm saying to you? So it is what it is, man. Those are the top 4 dogs that I would not be surprised if they barked and popped the fuck off, you know? And if we're being honest, the prospect versus the last pirate is another underdog that could very well bark and pop the fuck off if he manages to stay safe and not get finished inside the distance. You know, Nathaniel Wood, if this thing goes 15 minutes, if this thing goes to a decision, that probably means that Nathaniel Wood edged him out for a unanimous split or majority decision over there in his backyard. You understand what I'm saying to you? And it just is what it is, man. You know, I believe both of these young men to be very legitimate levels of opposition. 20-10-1, 20-6. Nathaniel Wood's been finished via KO, TKO, and via submission inside the distance. You understand what I'm saying to you? So, and we all know that the last pirate, Morgan, has proven that he can get it done absolutely anywhere with 3 submissions and 12 knockouts, 5 decision wins. 9 of his 10 losses are via decision because he's a hard motherfucker to get up out of there. He has been gotten up out of there once inside the distance via submission, but I do not see Nathaniel Wood being able to get that one done. Maybe he's able to possibly implement the wrestling and grappling. If it goes 15 minutes, that probably means that he was able to implement an all-around body of work and stay safe and possibly edge it out on the feet, man. But Morgan is not to be played with, not to be slept on, and you know, Nathaniel has proven that he can be caught, clipped, and disconnected from his consciousness. So, you know, it is what it is. He is another dog, in my personal opinion, you know, outside of Jan on this card that has very high potential to bark and pop the fuck off, man. I like Jan as a dog, you know. I know there's an age difference there, 42 and 34. One very much in his prime. One may very much be exiting his prime. 6'2 to 6'4. No big difference there. 78 inches to 77 inches. 78 for Jan, 77 for Los. You know, it is what it is. When we talk about levels of opposition, who's been competing against a higher level of opposition, who may, in his own right, be the higher level of opposition, that's 29-10-1. Look at that. He got the same record as the Pirate, don't he? Wow. Nah, 10-1. He's 21. I can dig it. I can dig it. Almost. Almost doesn't count. All right, check it out. Yeah, man. You know, if he's able to go in, listen, he might can catch, clip, and disconnect Los too, just because Los gets to worrying about the all-around body of work that Jan's going to attempt to implement. You understand what I'm saying to you? Jan's a big boy, and I know Los is bigger than, you know, Los is a big boy as well, and he belongs in his division, so it's not necessarily going to be as easy for Jan to, you know, implement the all-around body of work on Los as he did on Izzy, as Izzy didn't belong in his division when he fought Jan. But, listen, man, it is what it is. Jan has been to the top, and he has his goals set at getting back to the top before exiting this game. Los is in his way right now. He's trying to steal, you know, fights from motherfucking Alex, you know what I'm talking about? He's trying to go out here and put a stamp on this one. This may be, very well may be, one of the best versions of Jan that we get to see. And that may very well be based off of who he's inside the octagon with. That is to be determined. But these are dogs that I would not be surprised if they bark and pop the fuck off. Leon Edwards, Jan Blachowicz, Kevin Holland, Molly McCann, Morgan, I don't know how to say old boy's name, and Chris Padilla. You know what I'm talking about? And yeah, honestly, that's it, man. Honestly, for me anyway, that's it. I would be lying. I would be lying if I tapped out before touching on Chris Duncan and Jordan. For some reason, this fucking fight keeps playing over and over and over and over in my head. And every time, more times than not, when a motherfucker situation like this just keeps going over and over and over and over in my head, I find myself on the wrong side of it if I don't adjust properly. You know what I'm talking about? And I don't know why, for whatever fucked up reason, Chris Duncan just seems problematic for me. Like, I get it. Jordan solid, he's well-rounded, the boy's vicious. Chris Duncan's been finished twice, if I'm not mistaken, inside the distance via submission, right? Nah, once via KO, TKO, once via submission. Jordan has 6 or 7 submission victories on his record. Yeah, 6 of them, 2 knockouts and 5 decisions, man. You know, Jordan's the pick, but I just don't know why. Something about Chris is just rubbing me the wrong way. You know what I'm talking about? But, yeah, man, that's that with that. This Andre Puliev, Christian Leroy Duncan is the biggest favorite on the card. We know what the trend has been with that this year. One of these big favorites should fumble the bag. Not necessarily sure which one it's going to be. To be determined. Christian Leroy Duncan did, lose in his last fight, if I'm not mistaken, and that was over here as well, in London. Am I tripping? Nah, Gregory Rodriguez was an underdog, and he came over here and produced a better all-around body of work, cashed as an underdog against Christian Leroy Duncan in his backyard. Would I be surprised if the biggest favorite on the card, who's coming off of a loss, from being a favorite in his backyard, was to lose and fumble the bag in his backyard as the biggest favorite on the card? Nah, I wouldn't be surprised because it's ridiculous. Why are we doing this? I get it. Puliev, what is he, making his UFC debut? You know what I mean? Coming off the Contender Series, making his UFC debut, but why are we making somebody who came off the Contender Series, made his UFC debut? Where we at? Did he come on? Nah, he just debuted against Dusko, then lost to Arman, beat Dennis and Claudio, and lost to Gregory. Like, nothing about that screams, let's make this guy the biggest favorite on the card. Especially when Andre Puliev, or however you say his name, is an individual who likes to implement an all-around body of work. The wrestling, the grappling, the things that edged out Christian Leroy Duncan against Gregory Rodriguez in his backyard the last time he fought. Gregory Rodriguez was able to implement that all-around body of work and get him down to the ground and edge him out. Would I be surprised? Absolutely not. That's why it's a complete pass, man. You know what I'm talking about? But that's that with that. For what it's worth, I appreciate y'all for tapping in. Peace and blessings.